Good morning, folks. It is July 19th, about 8:15 in the morning, I guess it is. We are on a nice, unique job today. Jeff's behind me. We're getting ready to unload. We got our generator, the trailer, the grinder's already out behind me here. So what we have today, we're actually doing an outdoor patio, and you can see there's a grill set up outside. This is a beautiful area. We typically don't do outdoor areas. There's a couple things you have to keep in mind if you are doing an outside area. Is freeze-thaw conditions. If you do get moisture underneath the coating, it can delaminate. So what we're trying to do is make sure, of course, like always, we're prepping it as good as possible so we don't have that issue, but it is something you have to keep in the back of your mind. So I'll flip this around, I'll show you what we have. Okay, so this is, I want to say it's around 300 square feet. Forgive me, I don't know the exact measurements. So this is what we have here now. They have some holes in the concrete here that they put like I guess it's some type of temporary wall in winter. So this is the area here. So we basically have to go around the island. We're going to be doing a 3-coat system here. We're going to be doing a prime coat with the CFS 707 LVP, an intermediate coat with the CFS 707. We're going to be doing, I believe, a fairly heavy flake. That could change depending what the owner would like, and then we're going to be doing the Polyaspartic top coat. So this is the whole area we're doing. We're going to get the camera set up. You can watch us grind and do all the prep work here. And this joint here, I believe I'm just going to leave this open because of the thermal conditions. It's probably going to move fairly substantially in winter and re-crack anyway. So we're just going to leave it open so at least it's a nice straight line. We need to order our materials. So we go to our website, concretefloorsolutions.com. We go into our online store, and the materials we're going to be using are in the epoxy floor kits right here. So we're going to go into epoxy floor kits. We are going to be getting a 500 square foot kit. So we are going to choose the base color of tan. The flake option we're going to be using is the B715, which is also the Outback flake, and we're upgrading to the Polyaspartic, and we're going to add that to our cart. Now we'll get back to the job site. Okay, so we're getting ready to start up here. Jeff has the 40 grit diamonds on here with the super soft compound. We're expecting really hard concrete, so we'll see what happens, and you'll see with us. So far, so good. I'm going to put this back up on the tripod. You can watch this grind this in time lapse. So, of course, I spoke too soon. The diamonds glaze over, so I get the water sprayer out and I start misting in front of the grinder just to keep the diamonds cool. When the diamonds cool, they cut much better. And all I'm doing is just a real slight mist. You don't want it heavy. You don't want water spraying out the side. It's just to cool the diamonds down, and that increases the speed tremendously. Okay, so we got done grinding the floor. We used the 40 grit black diamond for super hard concrete. I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll show you exactly what we have. Okay, so Jeff ran the 32-inch grinder around here. And there's anywhere from a 2 to 6 inch reveal around the edge that I'm going to hit with the hand grinder. And we're going to use the Hilti DG150. That's the grinder that we always use. The center island here, there's about a 6 inch reveal. we didn't want to get too close with the big grinder and damage this stucco. So we have to go around the perimeter there. And then I also have to go around the outside perimeter here the best I can, just so our coating goes all the way to the edge here. Now this joint we have in the middle, we've opted to leave this open. The problem is because of the thermal movement, I think we're gonna end up having issues. So I'd rather have it open and just have a defined joint and let it like that, as opposed to having the joint filler compress and push out. So that's what we have. Okay, so on the grinder that I have, there's a shroud that opens up that allows me to grind right up against the edge. So I'm trying to pay particular attention to the edges with this. Again, because this is going to be exposed to freeze thaw, and this is not our typical installation. We normally don't install coatings outside. So I'm finishing up the edges with the Hilti DG 150. We're going to wrap that up, get that out of the way. Now I have to go over the edge, so I'm using a 20 volt DeWalt angle grinder with a cup wheel on it to try to go over the edge a little bit and go down about 1/2 inch, and that has no dust shroud. Okay, so we are all done now. All we have to do is vacuum up the dust. But you can see how close we were able to grind to these edges, and what I did, where it rolls over the side, I could grind down about 3/8 of an inch. That's kind of hard to see. It might even be upside down. I'm sorry about this shot. This is kind of odd to do with the stick here, but so I ground down about 3/8 of an inch all the way around the perimeter. We ground tight up against the center island here. And I don't know how well you can see a scratch in this stuff here, but this is very hard concrete. So this is a 40 grit diamond, but there is a scratch in here. So we're going to vacuum it all up, and we're going to get ready to put our prime coat down. They do have these holes, by the way. They need to preserve these for their winter setup here. So I'm going to put screws in there, wrap them with tape, and put screws in to preserve the holes. Okay, so now we're all set up. So there's a series of 25 holes around the perimeter here that they have like a winter plastic kind of perimeter they put up here. So all I did is I took, in this case here, I took Tapcons, wrapped them in tape, and jammed them in the hole. And in the event any epoxy gets under it, the hole is at least located. You just might have to take a masonry bit and clean it out. Again, we have an 18-inch roller, 1/4 inch nap, that's epoxy glide. We have a 24-inch S550 squeegee. We have a 6-inch edge roller and a cheap brush for the edges. Okay, so we did our prime coat of the CFS 707 LVP. Then we did a wet coat of the CFS 707. Then we broadcasted our flake. This was the Outback flake. So we did a very heavy flake over the whole thing. You could just barely catch a glimpse of the epoxy underneath there. But that's what we did all over everything. So this is what we're leaving today. So tomorrow we're going to be back and we are going to put on the Polyaspartic top coat. Okay folks, we are back. This is day 2. We did a full flake and this is what we have over the whole floor. So now I'm going to vacuum and do a light scrape over this, make sure there's no sharp edges. And then we're going to do the clear coat. I see we have a little cat watching us here. We're going to do the Polyaspartic clear coat today. It's imperative that you use the Polyaspartic if it's going to be exposed to ultraviolet light. So that's what we're going to set up and do now. And I do apologize, yesterday the camera did not record us applying the primer or the intermediate coat. Okay, so now we are all set. We vacuumed everything, we detailed everything. There's still flake in the grass. The problem is if I take the shot vac and try to go in the grass, it gets wet and then I track it back on the floor and we're gonna damage the floor. So the flake is kind of permanent for now, unless the homeowner wants to vacuum it later. Anyway, here is the top coat we're using, the CFS 444 Polyaspartic. So we are going to apply this. This is going to go down approximately 200 square feet per gallon. We're actually going to try to keep it fairly thin here. Traction is a concern, but not the main focus. So we want to try to keep it fairly smooth in this area here because there's going to be a table and chairs. And if you drag the chairs over the aluminum oxide, it could scratch the feet on the chair or vice versa. So we're trying to find the happy medium in texture. So we'll find out what that is when we do it. I'm going to set this up on time lapse. I'm actually going to record this time and we'll get the Polyaspartic down. So when you're dealing with the Polyaspartics, they are no joke. They wait for no one. So when you mix them, you need to move pretty quickly. So we mix it, we squeegee it out, we start back rolling it very quickly, of course in direct sun, which makes it set even quicker. Okay, so we just got done putting down the Polyaspartic and it's hot and humid, and between the combination of heat and humidity with the Polyaspartic, I always say it does not wait for anybody. So you need to work with a purpose, and we surely work quick in direct sunlight to get this down. So this is our finished product. Well, it's kind of hard with the, let me see if I can get some reflection here for you to see exactly what we have here. That's our finished floor. It turned out really pretty. Nice color choice here. So this is what we have here. Again, the owner is trying to preserve these holes. They put down a winter cover around the perimeter here so they can use this all year. So there's these bolts that he's just going to pull out when we're done to preserve the holes. So that is our finished product. Seems like every video when we get done anymore, I apologize because I'm all sweaty and nasty. I don't have my headband on today. So thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.